Right.
And that was, I remember that. That was a dose of reality as a 17-year-old kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big
That's
dose.
when the draft was big.
Yeah.
People, they just grabbed
I
the
didn't
guys
burn
and
a
went.
bra.
I'm Helen Palmer, used to be Helen Dehan, and Brunswick High School brought me my husband of 45 years, 3 beautiful grandchildren, 4 grandchildren. Say 3 children, 4 grandchildren. Talking on this is very nervous for me. But I come from a large family and coming to school every day and meeting my friends. It was during a time of day that I could be me instead of being one of a dozen and taking responsibility. I could come to school and be a kid. I loved coming to school. And seeing this building in such disrepair is heartbreaking. And so it's time to part with it and let our love go for it with the memories.
We, my class, 72, is the largest Brunswick class because we were the last class before Mount Ararat took into effect. So we had like 1,600 people in our senior year. Yeah, it was crazy. In the school, we had 400 seniors.
Wow, that's a big class.
Yeah, 400 seniors.
And you knew every one of them.
And I knew everyone.
I know that. The funniest thing ever was her. Hot shot on the motorcycle, I remember that.
Yeah, I'm still riding a bike.
Yeah, I remember that. So, I don't. It's it's at this point it's a blur of memories and people and stuff. At this point it's just sort of a blur of memories. Pretty good, but.
It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun in school.
You probably had more fun than I did. I was into horses, and all I wanted to do was get out and go ride. All I wanted to do was get out of school and go do something else. So I did all right in school, but I didn't want to be here. I wanted to go, do the horses and my other friends. So I didn't really participate in a lot of the school stuff.
Yeah.
But I remember some teachers. And the librarian, and my love of books, I became an incredible reader, and that was because we had a librarian that was just phenomenal, who just seemed to encourage, I don't know, it was just okay to be whatever you want, like you say, be what you want. But there were a lot of different things. No. Thalheimer is, Mrs. Thalheimer, Miss Thalheimer? Thalheimer, I can't remember. Yeah, that's what I thought. But did she teach something else too, like ancient history? Because I took her class just because I loved her. I thought she was a terrific, and she made ancient history. She created my love for history. If it was her, whoever the ancient history teacher was, I remember that. She talked about magic carpets, and I thought, oh my God, this could be interesting. So, whatever it was there was good and there was bad. I didn't particularly like school, but there was a lot of good things came from it. I graduated, thank God.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, yes. Obviously, the memories are football games, pep rallies, dances. I was just talking with Dave Watson and say how we want to continue doing things like this and coming up with some ideas of what we can do to capture that spirit. And I was telling them, I know we're going to be having some basketball games between Morse alumni and Brunswick alumni. And I said, well, one neat thing to do after that would be to have a dance afterwards. Because what we used to do is we had to have ball games, and then we'd go to Fat Boys, or we'd go to Ernie's Drive-In, and we'd have, eat something, BLTs, French fries, fraps, whatever, and then that evening we'd have a dance. Another thing that's a fond memory of me, for me, of course, is we used to have a program that you're probably not familiar with, and it was called the Dave Astor Show for teenagers only. And basically what that was is the State of Maine's version of American Bandstand. And we used to have regulars who would go on there and pantomime or lip sync, we call it lip sync today, but pantomime songs and dance and model and things like that. And I was one of the regulars on there, along with Christine Warming, and she'll be here tonight at the dance, and I'll recognize her. But we used to do that on Saturday afternoons, and we'd have different schools come on every Saturday, and we'd do our thing, and then we'd come back and have a dance at the Rec Center or St. John's, or a street dance at Bing's Market or Coddles. You wouldn't remember all these things, but these are some of the fond memories we have, besides the fond memories of just being in school. Sometimes it wasn't so much fun, but most of all, it was a camaraderie, and we looked forward to come to school to be with everybody for things like this. So a whole lot of fond memories. I could go on for hours and hours and hours, but I don't know if you were out front when we had the group picture taken. One of our favorite teachers for everybody here was Mr. Bonang, and Mr. Bonang was there. But yeah, I don't know if I can even remember all of my teachers, but yeah, we had some really great teachers.
Yes, I loved all the people here and all the teachers, and always grateful for my English teacher and our principal, Mr. Tonen, and mostly it was the friends. You know, they've been lifetime friends for me. Yeah, we just loved the dances. That's where we had all of the fun, and we didn't have a late bus or anything at that time, so I lived in Hopswell. So the only activities I really got to was the dances more than the sports, because we didn't have a way to get home if we stayed for those things after school. Mr. Hart was one I think I remember more than anything.
Tina Warming, class of 1966. Well, I kind of have a challenge because I have 4 generations that have graduated from Brunswick High School, and I'm wondering if there's anybody out there. My grandmother graduated in 1891, my mother in 1926, I graduated in 1966, and my daughter graduated in 1989. And I think somebody's already mentioned one of the fondest memories. It always had to do with dancing at the high school. And I was a regular on the Dave Astor Show along with Chet Garrison. I think he was in and talked to you about that. And Jerry Favreau always went because he was a good dancer, and we had great times. And I was Miss Teen Queen and Miss Brunswick, and Teen Queen in 1964 and Miss Brunswick in 1966, so that was exciting. I'm sure if whoever's watching this, one of my coaches would say I wasn't sitting right because they taught us how to sit and whatever. So Brunswick High was just a wonderful, wonderful place. I lived in the neighborhood, and we had a great time.
B-R-U-N-S-W-I-C-K, rock, rock, rock.
Okay.
Oh, my name used to be Betty Hanks, and I was a cheerleader at Brunswick High School until my senior year. And senior year, I was supposed to be head cheerleader, but I was also elected president of the student council. So the then principal, Mr. Tonen, called me into his office and said, "You can't have both positions, so you have to decide." And I said, "That's a no-brainer. I want to be president of the student body." And when I ran for president of the student body, I had 3 campaign promises. The first one was to put an Apple machine into the cafeteria because we all complained constantly about the lunches. And the second one was to change the school colors because most of us did not like orange and black, particularly since the band always wore purple and gray. And the third campaign promise was to start a winter carnival so that we could raise money for the student aid fund, because students were not raising a lot of money to help with the student aid fund, and the Booker brothers were making an enormous effort to raise money by having auctions every year here in Brunswick. So I tried to put the Apple machine in, and the principal said, "No way are you going to interfere with the lunch program." And then I tried to change the school colors, and I was told it's much too expensive to do. But the idea of having a winter carnival to raise money for the student aid fund was something that the administration agreed to, and we decided to have it, and we decided to have a contest to name it. And Ann Coles, who was a classmate of mine in the year 1959, and her mother got together and decided, they put in an entry into the contest, and their entry was to name it Dragons spelled backwards, and it was Snowguard, and that was the favorite name. The whole school voted on it. We liked that the best, so we decided that we would name our winter carnival Snowguard. It was an enormous success, and we were so convinced that we were doing the right thing and that it would go on in perpetuity that we made a huge banner that we had up first over the stairs coming into the lobby of the old high school. And then later we put it in the auditorium for the actual event of the Snow Guard. And it said, "Welcome to the first annual Snow Guard." So that's how convinced we were that it was a good idea and it would go on forever. And maybe 5 years ago, I visited the new high school where my niece is a teacher. And it was Snow Guard weekend. And to see that they are still doing Snow Guard at Brunswick High School and still raising a lot of money for the Student Aid Fund, it makes me very, very proud to be a member of the class of '59 and having made that contribution to my community and my school. I have many happy memories of Brunswick High School and some very tense times. Mr. Tonin, the then principal, was adored by everyone. He was a very strict disciplinarian. Even the toughest boys were very, very afraid to go into his office and be called in. And I have very fond memories of Mr. Tonin because he always referred to us as young lady or young man. And he would call me into his office and discuss how we were going to do certain things in my capacity as president of the student body. And it was very, very good for me. It was educational for me, so that even though at that time I wasn't thinking about being a teacher, in fact, I had decided, I gave my teacher such a hard time that I would never be a teacher. That would be the last thing in the world I would ever do. I ended up teaching school and have taught school since 1963. It's now 2008, and I just retired from teaching in a city high school.
Stephen Hanks, class of '65. There, okay? All right. And I used to be on the radio club. We had a radio club in Brunswick High. That was great. It was super. We had our own show at WBOR. And after I graduated, we actually had a radio station here for a while at this place. But we had a bunch of people that all went to electronics. Brunswick High was the first school in New England to offer electronics, college-level electronics physics classes. And we had grades 1, 2, 3, 4 years of Alan Jewett, who was, we dedicated our yearbook to. He was a Navy chief, retired, physics teacher here. And he was really well-liked. And a whole bunch of us, like 30 or 40 of us, were ham radio operators anyway. So we all helped him start the electronics class. And we had actually, by the time we finished, we had 4 years of electronics you could go through. And most of us were prepared to go into careers in electronics. And I went into audio electronics, some of them went into computer electronics, things like that. So that's my fond memories of Brunswick High.
What is your name? Can you spell it? This is
So like my full name?
Yeah.
Richard.
Richard.
Simard. S-I-M-A-R-D.
Okay, great.
Just tell me when you want me to look at the camera.
Okay, and can you just hold the mic a little further away? Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, and we'll get started here. First, state your name and the year of graduation.
Hi, I'm Richard Simard, and I graduated in 1973. Well, my fondest memories were electronics and metal class. And we always also got a kick out of the wood shop, and always had to have a teacher with missing fingers. I do also remember Mr. Billings standing guard and passing out detention slips if you were 1 minute late getting into the cafeteria in the morning. I don't know if he's still around, but
my name is Helen Ruiz-Michaud. I graduated in 1965. I remember one of the fondest memories was going to the Dave Astor show on Channel 6 and being in the gym and having choir and sitting there and just talking with our friends. And later on in life, I met my husband, who was a class of 1956. He graduated 10 years before me. And to us, this high school is everything. We just had